think everyone eat and enjoy good food is another thing. Who doesn't eat? Who doesn't enjoy good food? Nobody. Who doesn't eat? Nobody. Who cooks? Anybody cooks?
Somebody.
Three times a week? Yes?
More.
More?
More.
2 times a week? And the rest don't cook at the restaurant. That is the industry that what you have to visit. Then to be able, as a client of the restaurant, you're not just going to eat, but you have to understand food. What I'd like to share today, as you see, I don't know anybody in a lifetime, including me, or Pak Bos, or Pak Bondan. I'm going to start singing. And in their 100th lifetime, can taste the taste of tradition of Indonesia, because 17,000 islands, 8,000 inhabitants, 34 provinces with their individual sub-province. As you know, the modern time in Indonesia, everybody now always has a new vision. I have many family who came to me and asking where they can send the children to go to the best culinary school in the world. I said, the most important things, I want to have the parents can reduce the sound, the volume, just reduce the volume. I want the parents and the children come at the same time to talk about it. Because many times what I see, when Koromro is the most popular culinary institute in the world, everybody think of Koromro. Recently, all the Koromro, Mr. Control, the owner, decided to close down all the Koromro in US. And I've been many times giving workshop in many Koromro in US from East Coast to West Coast. There are many reasons. You can Google the reason. But in US alone, there are about 1,400 culinary academies. The largest would be culinary, the good CIA. There are 2 CIA in US. One that everybody hates, one is a good one, which is Culinary Institute of America. In the main campus at the Poughkeepsie, upstate New York, is about 2,500 students. And the rest, the tuition for culinary academy in US varied between 3 years. How you call 3 years term? Is it what, 3 semester or?
6 semesters.
Yeah, like 3 years is sometime from 60,000 to 120,000 the tuition fee. My best tagline who I've seen is CIA. They have a tagline. The first study is when the first day you left the campus. Yes, they only give you a certification. That's why in USA, you can come back after you do your culinary safari, wherever you went, you work somewhere with the best chef in the world, you can come back to certify yourself. And here I can see, I'm talking in front of you as a student and the educator, there are 2 versions. If I'm advised, I'm asked advice, where the best to send the student. I said, for me, to my person, to what I've seen the Europe version, I've seen America, I've seen Australia version. I would send them first to the New World, like Australia, US, which is the education of culinary education is very open-minded, very extensive, very horizontal, very a lot of perspective on the culinary issue. But only one you have to learn in Europe, the gastronomy issue. I don't know if I know you are working with your biology. There are food biology, food technology, and food science. Yeah. If I thought there's traditional about involved in the food science that you have to know, it's not producing a piece of ham with just machine is the best. But there's tradition. Anybody here understand the issue about gastronomy? Gastronomy is the term of gastro is the stomach, is the knowledge about stomach, about what you eat. For instance, if someone declares as a gastronomy, when you offer them a chicken, they will pursue another question. What kind of chicken? Where it come from? What type of breed? What kind of feeding they get? And who are the farmers? Not just ayam kampung and ayam broiler. That's what we normally in Indonesia. So it's totally wrong if they said Indonesia there is a gastronomy. That we don't have gastronomy culture unless you guys start in the future to create. So you don't breed the normal chicken, you breed the special chicken. Someone start to exercise to introduce the castrate chicken. Have you heard about this castrate rooster? Castrate rooster? Ikebiri. Ikebiri. It's very traditional in some Chinese tradition for more richer protein we gain. And in French tradition, they have called chapon, which is the only available before the Christmas, just a month, start of December. They castrate the rooster when they were only 2 weeks old. 2 weeks old. So and then they breed it, and the end. They all had to go through a competition. Everybody tried to give the best quality of this chicken. Because of 2 weeks being cut off, the male hormonal is gone, so they don't come with the corn when they grew up. So it's a big cut from 3.5 to 5.5 kilo chicken. So this is another considered as the product of gastronomy. Cheese the same. You talk about cheese, I think the biotechnology has to be involved in cheese, but in France, when you talk about cheese, you don't talk about cheese alone. Cheese is traditionally is the way to preserve the dairy products. But what is the difference now in the quality? The quality different, there's industrial, there's artisanal. So there's two different things. Industrial, mass production, inexpensive. You don't say food cheap, you say food inexpensive. Never. And when it comes to artisanal, in French tradition, all the milk has to be raw. So there's again part of this knowledge of bio and combination of the farming, the environment. In the future, how to maintain the environment so that you can produce cheese with raw or unpasteurized milk. That's why I said in the beginning, you learn the gastronomy in Europe because those products, they can't travel outside of France. banned in US, banned in Australia. If someone from Australia they said they know cheese, I don't think they know cheese. not until they taste those kind of artisanal cheese. When you talk about, some people say, oh, you like goat cheese? I hate goat cheese. Goat cheese is a very strong odor. So I've tasted them, I've tested, and give them a goat cheese, they enjoy goat cheese. Why? A different type of goat. Because the milk coming from different type of the animal, different type of lifestyle of those animals produce a different quality of milk. So there's a very, very rare goat called Cordoba in France, in the mountain, that is very limited. They produce a very fine goat milk. Goat milk is, they said, is 10 times better than cow milk. That is a general about this gastronomic issue and how you like. In Spain, they produce ham, for instance, called jamón ibérico. Anybody heard about this name before? Jamón is I know in Italy is prosciutto de San Daniel. They are very, very specific to produce this particular ham. How? First, the animal. What kind of animal? Is the name is pata negra. Pata negra is black feet animal. It's been 1,000 years. Domesticated wild boar. It's only grown in a certain region like Salamanca, Habugo, and those places. Second, the cross, F1, F2, F3, F4. I don't know if you've learned this. The animal, you know Wagyu? Yeah. Everybody know Wagyu, but everybody never asked if this is F1 Wagyu, F2, F3, F4. It's a cross of the Wagyu, 100%, 75%, 50%, or 25%. It's a cross. Produce a different quality of meat. For this, it's very interesting for you to, especially involved in biology and all this. What to achieve the best quality of this Spanish ham called jamón ibérico, with the fat. Anybody know oleic acid? Yes. Yes, right? What you have from the olive oil. Yes. So the top quality of this ham, the fat is healthy. You can eat the fat because it has 60% of oleic acid. Why? There's another criteria. It has to be the pure breed of this animal, minimum 70-80%. Second, they have to eat the specific. Do you know chestnut? Yes. There's another tree. Do you know the tree who produce corkscrew for wine? Called oak. They produce the skin they take, they produce the cork. So the best wine in France, they still want to use the cork. So when they take out the bark for the cork, it takes 9 years for the tree to build up the bark for another cork. Yeah, 9 years. So this tree produce what the English call acorn. It's a nut like this. You can see sometimes, this chest bump over the root, like chestnut and this acorn. Or in Spain they call it pelota. Pelota. Why? Has to be, how to make this the top quality? They have a ratio. 1 tree, 1 animal. So if they go to the estate, who own the estate have a 200 tree, they send this pig when the nut season, when this biota, the season from November to February, they send the pig to their forest to let them eat 200 pig with 200. So with that ratio, they will achieve what is called the fat as 4 lakhs olive oil. The term 4 lakhs olive oil, not in the bottle. So this is the understanding what we never learned, that to produce a good product, it's not like to grow. Everybody now growing vegetable in the water, hydroponic, on the pond. There's a system now introduced in Indonesia. You can grow green veggie with a stick. There's a box underneath. You put water. You let it. You breed some of some catfish, ikan lele. So the secretion of ikan lele will go to the water, go through that tube, and you grow some green vegetables. It becomes a decoration, or you can harvest it. So things like this is very important when you learn, as long as the cost is not an issue. When it comes to cost is an issue, people always think, what? MSG. Right? Who doesn't like bakso? Who doesn't eat bakso? You don't eat bakso. Anybody? So the rest will eat bakso. How you justify the bakso? Good quality and worse quality. Anything round? You can bounce it, 1 meter is good bakso. Right? Anything you ground, you can make bakso. I tell you, I grew up in Surabaya. I know my dad liked to cook, he liked to make his own bakso. I remember when I was young. So we went very early in the morning. This is your study, you have to learn about this food technology and anything, because now through food technology, you can make bakso round. In the old days, they go to the butcher, 5 o'clock, 4:30 in the morning. As long as the animal being slaughtered, the meat still wobbly, still moving with the post-mortem is very short, still warm. So we take it back to the kitchen, then you don't chop, you pound it. Because all the proteins still very firm and everything, what you can get a lump of meat for bakso. 1 kilo you only need maybe 2 spoons of starch. Now, at these days, the rule is different. Now the rule is different. You slaughter animal, you have to hang for 8 hours to age it, to drain the blood and everything. So the meat is not elastic. Then you have to add, on the street they put borax, put a lot of starch to make it cheap. Anything, any training that you can imagine, it goes to bakso.
It's like a sausage.
Yes. You ask a sausage maker what is inside, God knows. This is very important, and everybody loves bakso. There's a lot of bad case happening in Indonesia, maybe also in some other places. Any kind of protein left over, good or bad, halal or non-halal, is just dumped into bakso and you love it. You love it, especially on the street level. So what do you think about the stock? Stick of bone, water, 1 big of MSG. That's the way it is, to make it cheap. To make it cheap. I'm not campaigning. When Obama came to Indonesia, is the issue of bakso like the icon of Indonesia, because Obama said, I love bakso. Remember, when Obama was in Indonesia, he was only very little kids. In his pocket, there were only maybe 10 rupiah in those days. That he spent on the street buying nasi goreng and bakso. He just said that is memorable things that he had. And Indonesia, and especially Indonesian president, took it the wrong issue. Oh, this is the Indonesian icon, bakso. Become a national dish, like a bakso. And everybody, this is the proud of Indonesia.
It should be tahu tempe.
Pardon?
It should be tahu tempe.
It should, right? It should be tahu tempe. No, tempe. Tahu is not from Indonesia. Tempe is the same. We're talking, anybody can interrupt me. Now the world is interrupted. Anybody. Even the president can interrupt. So don't worry. If you have any other issue, you interrupt me. You come to me with anything. You said about tempe. Who has been experimenting making tempe in here? Right? What do you use? Soya?
Soya. Yeah, soya.
And the black soya?
White, the white soya.
The white one. What type of soya you use?
From pasar.
Huh? From pasar, right? And you don't know what is from pasar. Is it GMO or not? Right? Did you ever ask the pasar whether this is GMO or non-GMO? You just make for the sake of tempe. I think 97% of Indonesian soybean imported from US is GMO. Genetic modified.
What's the issue with GMO?
You know ayam kampung? You know broiler. It's almost the same issue. Broiler you can eat within 3 weeks.
What's wrong with
You can try the dog within 3 weeks. You can slaughter, you can goreng, you can do whatever you want. Ayam kampung takes 6 months.
And what's wrong with that?
Yeah, to grow decent size, or for 4 months for the baby one. So the time, that's why this big company, Somato, what is the? Monsanto. Is the world mafia of these GMO products. So what you taste, now you will remember, look, everybody just eat tempeh as the sake of tempeh, but they never taste the textures. And they never grew up. In my time, where everything is non-GMO. What is happening? When you buy the tempeh, all the bean is already become one. You don't see the fragmented of individual bean. Unless now they have some locally made tempeh with local non-GMO, but has to be more expensive. Anybody have taste non-GMO tempeh or organic tempeh? You do?
It's way better actually.
Yes, because it's more textures. You buy, where you from?
I'm from Jakarta, but I often go to Bandung.
Oh, okay. You can find they buy you buy the bean. But GMO normally when you buy it become like a lump. And the same thing when you call. I think your bio also you learn about this fermentation product. Do you learn?
Yes.
Have you checked anybody like yogurt?
Yes.
You just say like yogurt. How you like your yogurt?
Sour.
Right. Turkey,
Greece.
from Greece, and some yogurt ferment. The ferment is traveling. You can buy the starter with the GI, geographic identification. So it comes from Turkey, which part, and some Russia, and people look for it. Why? How do you call the term for those, the culture? It's like a fungus, right? Like a, yes. They are like human. There's some white, there's some yellow, there's some black. They're the same culture, with different DNA. People never talk about this. So what they see is when you go to Turkey, you especially, everybody has to take this boat just across just to get the yogurt. The texture, flavor is different. A lot of yogurt here is very, especially industrial yogurt, very watery. It doesn't stand firm, and nobody cares whether I'm having yogurt. Any question about this before I go on? Any comment about food? Now we talk about food. We talk about good food. Food has to be decent, unless someone says, oh, it should be very cheap. No, inexpensive. Very cheap is not a good quality. And I've been asked many times by journalists, oh, Papa, fried chicken, McDonald's, junk food. I said, no. Bakso is, street bakso is junk food. Why? Any food that you eat that you don't know what is inside, it's junk food. If you have McDonald's 3 times a day because you haven't been transferred, your ATM is very low, and you said I better have only, this is in America, have McDonald's 3 times, burger 3 times a day, that's your fault. Because you know it's guaranteed beef with 15% fat.
Yes.
That's, for me, it's not junk food because you're aware what you're eating. Anything, sausage, safe. Then you have to go to the reputation. That's why in the future, when you grow up into industry or you produce food, reputation precedes. Without good reputation, you just sell. So this is very important. I've been talking to many people about how to become a good cook. People always say where to go to the best school to learn. The rule number 1, whatever the reason, the palate counts. Your palate, how you grew up. If your parents give you good spectrum of taste in anything, or your parents only give you what you like. That's why I've been experimenting to my own grandson, grandchildren. I told them, you will have a baby anyway. Listen to me. Baby, don't let them, they have to go through the age. When they were young, let them smell. Let them smell good things. So they have a memory, they remember. Can you imagine if I give someone in Beijing the stinkiest tofu to the Japanese, is immediately responsive. Aduh Pak, it smells sweat. Yeah, because they cannot distinct. And then come to blue cheese, same. You come to another very strong French cheese like F1, same. That's indication of sweat. What is a good smell of sweat? It's edible and non-edible. Durian the same. Durian. Anybody here doesn't like durian? What is the reason?
The smell is so strong.
You do? What is the reason?
The smell is horrible.
Okay, my second grandson, when he smelled, he ran away from the durian. That is the product. That is the product. Who loves durian? Okay. Anybody can describe to me the best quality durian you ever taste? From where? Which country? Which region? What type of durian? Anybody? Anybody like Thai durian? Oh yes. Yes? How many you like Thai durian? Okay. I tell you, to my opinion, don't tell it to the French Thai government. I hope there's no Thai here. The Thai is very smart. They make durian industrialized. How does this categorize? Bio industry, or is that considered in front of? You know, when you normally naturally fruit has season, but this one no season. How you call that in your faculty term? Is it biotechnology? Right. So, like Thai durian, Thai have commonly you know is Mongtong, right?
Yes.
And the king of the Thai durian they call the number one, number two is Chani, which is very orange. The king of durian for Thai is Kanyao. When you see durian with a long stem, that's a Kanyao. It's a long stem. But because they produce is no season, they maybe push it with some technology. They can produce with the clothing. And what I remember in those days when I started to learn about Thai durian, because it's very meaty. A lot of meat, you think, oh, it's very nice. But the real what you enjoy durian is the same thing how you enjoy good cheese. Textures, flavors, the dryness, the creaminess, you know. Among any you agree with that?
I agree.
Or you just eat durian? The best, to my opinion, I might be right, I might be wrong. This is my favorite. The best durian I've tasted is Musang King from Malaysia. And a lot of Indonesians claim that we also have a lot of things. I said, where? You can't find it. They also say, yeah, we have durian petro in central Java, but where? I can't find it. You can't find it. But Malaysia, but it's a lot also fake. In Singapore, you go to Gelang, you don't buy Musang King. We must be going to special store, reliable store, but because it's not cheap. It's expensive for durian. Any question? Any comment about good food? Yes. You? Pardon?
I'm just fixing my sleeve.
Just fixing his sleeve. No question.
Liang, I would like to ask in terms of, as you know, you also mentioned Indonesian taste from the culture. As you know, Indonesian people, they love sweet taste much, let's say, higher compared than the other country. We should incorporate the sweet taste higher in our food, or how do you think about that?
Where are you from?
My origin is from Jakarta.
Do you eat sweet?
Huh?
Do you eat
Yes,
your
I
food
eat sweet. I eat
You
sweet.
add sugar to your food?
Sometimes yes, but when I move
All the
to
time I have seen you adding it down.
The professor said that this is unusual. You are unusual for someone coming from Jakarta. You have a tendency on the more sweet to your food.
yeah, but for example, when we taste, let's say like the chocolate mousse from here, let's say in Jakarta, it's more sweeter when you're tasted in the, let's say,
No,
chocolate
you're
mousse.
talking about Indonesia.
Indonesia,
Chocolate mousse
yeah.
is not Indonesian.
Or let's say Indonesian food.
Isn't it French?
Yeah, whatever. And say about Indonesian food.
Or let's say
In Jakarta. Gudeg is not from Jakarta. I said, say something from original from Jakarta. Like asinan Jakarta, like nasi uduk, like soto betawi. Do you eat it sweet?
No, they tend to be savory actually, with a hint of spicy and just,
Exactly.
sourness at times.
But the personal preference, there's some changing when how I grew up in East Java. I just show you an example. 50, 60 years ago, I'm not 60 years. And soto Madura, for instance, on the table, there's ketchup asin. Soto ayam, there's ketchup asin. Now, it's a marketing. It's a marketing. People have to have it. I can't take it. If I go to Central Java, yes, I eat their soto ayam with some. Now the tendency in Jogja Solo, also because of so many people coming from, not from Central Java, they start to reduce the sweetness of the gudeg. Anybody go to Jogja very often? Gudeg. I found it's it should go to the Guinness Book of Records this morning. 96 years old, been selling gudeg for 80 years. In Jogja, yeah. She should be on the Guinness of Records, but the government doesn't recognize it. Recently, been published in many, been even interviewed on TV. She starts from 5:30 every morning, close at 9 o'clock. Every 80 years. She told me that even when she started, there's no beca. Before, those days, he said, before beca started, before Japanese came to India. So it's, any question? Yes.
I'm Diana from Agricultural University.
Yes.
Talking about healthy food, when we compare
Faulty food
healthy food,
or healthy food?
yes, from Indonesia and maybe other country like Japan. Like in Indonesia, we have a lot of food that contains coconut milk or deep fry. But compared to Japan, they tend to have like raw,
Raw, yeah.
fish and stir fry. And I think why Japanese has I think they have more healthier food than Indonesia.
That's not true. Food is a wonder. Who can tell where the food comes from? How they make the first rendang? Who can say? Who makes the first curry? How the Indians started with the curry and influenced the flavors, some spices into Aceh. Indonesia has so many, for my opinion, has so many healthy food. Except Indonesia themselves is not confident. Now I found many Indonesians came to me, but can I cook rendang with milk? Who cares? But that's not rendang. Soya milk, you can do, but that's not. There's any kind of beef stew that you create. In America, in the hospital, they start to serve coconut oil compared with the olive oil. And Indonesia said, "Stay, I don't want to eat. You miss your life. You miss your good life, your palate when you grew up in Indonesia because you're avoiding those elements. The thing that you never played, like in Padang, almost every cooking with the coconut milk, right? But one thing they never bring is the offals. They bring the coconut milk, but they don't bring the offals. Or tak, jeroan, semua dimakan. And then they say, no problem, but they don't want to eat the coconut milk. This is, so you have to respect your own food. In Japan is only the last 100 years they start to eat beef. Normally they eat seafood and vegetables. If you go to Vietnam, what they eat, they pick one spring roll. It's big. They wrap with lalapan, with all these herbal leaves, that taste, they eat. And you see the girl. You know, when you stop in front of the hotel or the mall, sometimes you walk, you will be surprised. You know, start the first girl pop up from the taxi, the second, the third, the fourth, the fifth, the sixth. They all squish into the car because they're so tiny. This is what you have to see. And then when in America, one taxi, one person. With this size, when you go to Vietnam, they will tell you know, they think this is Vietnamese. But when you start to oversize, they know this is not Vietnamese because they eat a lot of raw veggie, raw leaves, herbal leaves they eat. Korea also, they don't. I just give you an example how they skim the fat a lot. They also eat a lot of pork in Vietnam. They cook pork, for instance, with coconut water. Also the water might cut down all the enzymes. But after that, they chill, they skim all the floating fat away. And like in Vietnamese, the cooking is very simple, but we rely a lot on the nước mắm, which is a fish sauce. When I came back anytime from Vietnam, do I have the time?
Yes.
Yeah, let me know the timing, and then I'll show some pictures. When I came back, I like to carry the top quality fish sauce, but you're not allowed. Per person, you're allowed 2 bottles. The airline afraid we burst and it spread all the smell. There's a few things they're afraid. Same like the Swedish, what do you call it?
Surströmming.
Have you heard?
Surströmming.
Yes. This is the Swedish kind of rotten herring. You know, herring when they full with raw, they keep in the salt water for maybe for 6 months until it ferment, and they put in the can, and then they eat when the can already swollen. Can you imagine if they open here, you ran. But that's good. fermented food, you remember, any fermented food is healthy. The same thing like in Alaska. In Alaska, they buried the Eskimos, they buried the walrus under the ground, which is not frozen, but very cold for 3 years. And then they dig it out again.